Yo, welcome back to another video of Splatoon 3. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the One Piece live action, because I have nothing better to play in the background when I talk about the One Piece live action. Anyway, so I watched it yesterday, so my knowledge is quite fresh on it. So, the thing is that I don't really like about the One Piece anime, not the anime, the live action, okay? I have to get saying the stupid anime out of my head. It's live action. But one thing I hate about is just episode 3 and episode 4 because they're just awful, to be honest. Like, in episode 3, Zoro just gets thrown down a well. Yet in episode 4, he just, comes back. It was a deep well, by the way. He just comes back and he has no brain damage when that fall would have left anyone with brain damage. It was so stupid how they just did that. Like, anyone that takes a fall from, like, a 50 feet well and is just dumped down there, head first, will get brain damage, but Zoro just comes out perfectly fine without brain damage. And it was also so stupid how they, like, did his flashbacks while he was climbing a mere well. Like, give him like an emotional bed to do flashbacks on, not just him climbing a stupid well. Like, make it interesting. Make us actually attached to the character, not just, hey, this is his character's backstory, and then just make him climb a well and then do nothing about it, nothing interesting with the character. Like, you're supposed to make your characters be nice and not just pathetic, and have the main character just overshadow the side characters in their basically story and everything. Just like, they could have gave Zoro like a good arc and then threw some backstory in there, but like, Luffy goes against the stupid clown guy and kind of insults that one pirate who we liked a lot and wanted to go on adventures with, and that's when Luffy gets his backstory thrown, at least most of his backstory thrown, because there was some of it thrown in and before and after that. But still, like, at least there was an actual reason to throw out backstory there, and it actually made the character somewhat emotionally attachable. Okay, that was terrible wording. It at least made the character somewhat easy to be attached to, and like, like the character of Zoro, you just throw him in the well, give him backstory, and then, yeah, there's, like, no emotion behind it. It's just him climbing a damn well. And all of a sudden, you see Zoro's backstory without, like, any way of him being, like, emotional in an event that he's having these flashbacks in. And it's just pathetic how they did Zoro like that. And then that's not the only complaint I have about, like, episode 3 and episode 4, which is just one arc, by the way. They're both, like, the same event going on. But the butler dude, who is the villain of the arc, has this, like, ability which lets him fade in and out for, like, a brief moment, while also being able to just, like, travel distance while fading. So it's kind of like going like really fast, like how the light waves blur, and then just showing up at a different place, except he doesn't really go far with it. But the thing is, Luffy just decides to fight him, even though, logically, Luffy is inferior. Luffy just has a huge disadvantage against the Butler Dude's power. I forgot their name, because that villain was so pathetic. It was just clear plot armor during episode 3 and 4. But Luffy decides to fight stupid Butler Dude, which he has a clear disadvantage against, Luffy decides to stretch his arm out, because it's made out of rubber, in order to attack the Butler dude with weapons in his hand. So all the stupid Butler had to do, which they're Butler, they used to be a legendary and very threatening pirate. They should be smart. All they had to do was just stab Luffy's arm as he extended it and missed the stupid thing. And missed himself, not the stupid thing. I just forgot what to say, which like said stupid thing. But yeah, all the Butler had to do was stab Luffy while he was extending his arm in order to attack. But no, the Butler decided to just stand there, not stab Luffy's arm, when there was just a clear opportunity to do that, and that's clearly how you beat Luffy in the fight. That's how you're supposed to play that matchup to be winnable. But if you're not just going to use your powers to the advantage, and not going to be playing against the counter's clear weakness, which is very obvious, then of course you're going to lose the fight. But they just made such an intelligent pirate who is like very well known for being such a criminal, and then they just made him incredibly stupid and bad in combat because he just decided, hey, I'm not gonna just stab Luffy's arm here, even though it's very vulnerable, and that's the only way for me to actually beat him in the fight. Then, after that, when Luffy stops you know, extending his arm, and it's just a one-on-one fight, with the Butler just spamming him, just why are you spamming Luffy instead of using your powers to just fade in and fade out to catch Luffy on guard? Instead you're just spam swipe slashing him with those stupid sticks he has, which obviously isn't working because Luffy is very good at avoiding attacks. He's very good at dodging stuff he can see. But the Butler just still decides to do it, instead of at least mixing it up and throwing his powers while he was trying to attack Luffy a bunch in a row, which is stupid. He just stops using his powers entirely. Like, hey, when he's in the middle of a combo, just slashing and slashing, they don't even try to fade once to, you know, get behind Luffy and maybe, you know, take him by surprise. And make him not expect being stabbed from behind. But no, they just have to let him just dodge everything, and it's just clear plot on the entire fight. Luffy should not have won that at all. It's just, he had a clear disadvantage. He was fighting against a legendary pirate who was also very intelligent. And Luffy, not even like that good at navigating fights yet. They're still like learning how to fight well with their power, because they haven't really gotten into many actual fights before. So Luffy should have just gotten destroyed in that fight. Like, there's no reason the Butler should have lost that besides just plot armor, because it's just, why? And then there's also Nami, who in that entire interaction just sat in the closet hiding instead of helping Luffy in a matchup where they are obviously going to lose, but didn't because of plot armor. But yeah, okay, the dude fades behind you and traps you in the neck lock. I don't know what it's actually called, but still, after that, you just stand there and not help Luffy at all, even after you just completely fail, which now there's Luffy, another person who can help you in the fight. Like, it's just stupid, the way they did episode 3 and episode 4, it's just so full of plot armor. And I didn't really get past episode 4, but let's go back to episode 2 and 1. In episode 2, which is the one with the clown, the buggy one, Luffy just like goes from like saying, you can say whatever you want about me, but you can't say that to my friends. And then he just goes, I'm Monkey D. Luffy. He just has this stupid accent change out of nowhere, which sounds incredibly goofy and stupid. And after that, and he also has that incredible emotion change. Like he goes from sounding very like agitated and wanting to like avenge his friends for what they or what he said to them. But then he just goes and says, "I'm Monkey D. Luffy" in a very goofy accent. Which why? Then there's also the fight itself, which, yeah, this live action isn't that good at fights because pretty much every fight is a losing one for the Straw Hats because Buggy, the clown, could literally just disassemble certain body parts and reassemble them. Luffy and Nami eventually find a counter to this by throwing his body parts in crates once he deattaches them. But hey, after the first one goes in the crate and they realize Buggy's weakness, Buggy just says, "Hey, I'm gonna keep doing this attack pattern I'm using, even though they've clearly found my weakness and they can abuse it so that I won't win at all." Instead of reattaching his body, he just keeps throwing his body parts at the Straw Hats in order to attack offensively, which just ends up with all his body parts going into crates. Like, he was seeing what they were doing, he was seeing how they were countering him, yet Buggy decided to use the same attack pattern after just he's been completely countered. Like, he also showed a different attack pattern he knew earlier, which was staying in his regular body, and when someone slashed or stabbed at him, he could just slightly deassemble some parts of his body in order to just avoid the attack, which is what he should have done after they started throwing his body parts in crates, because, hey, that's a smart thing to do, because they never figured out how to counter that attack style. Even Luffy couldn't, like, do anything. He punched part of Buggy's body off, then Buggy just reattached it instantly. Zoro decided to slash at one of his parts, and then he just disassembled his body so that the slashes just went straight through air instead of his body. Like, the Straw Hats never figured out how to counter that attack pattern of Buggy, so he obviously should have swapped to that attack pattern. But no, he just keeps throwing out his body parts individually and trying to attack the Straw Hats with that, even though, you know, they've already found a counter to that. That is not the smart thing to do. Then there's also just episode 1 as well, which I have complaints about, which is how was Nami and Luffy just able to solo like dirty Marines, who are trained professionals. They're supposed to be really good at fighting, they're supposed to be trained, unlike pirates. But Luffy and Nami could just take on 30 by themselves, which is incredibly stupid because, as I said before, they're trained. Not only that, there's also the fact that the Marines all have cutlasses or swords instead of, you know, guns, because we've seen guns before in the show. They do exist in the universe. Yet they just don't use the gun, which a gun can one-shot, a sword cannot. You need damage over time from blood loss, so a sword cannot one-shot unless you go directly for the heart. So why are you giving them swords instead of guns? Just more like terrible excuses. If they had guns, they could just one-shot any pirate, or like two-shot them, because, you know, sometimes you can't have perfect accuracy. So the Marines just give their soldiers swords, even though guns are just a better option because, you know, they can kill faster. They're also ranged, so that they can't get outranged by like cannons or other people using guns. They can even just give them, hey, just a sword and a gun to carry at the same time, so it can handle both close and long range, and if they run out of bullets. It's just so stupid, and it's also so stupid how bad I am at this game. Look at that aim, it was awful. But yeah, why are you giving soldiers who are meant to fight pirates swords when pirates, you know, are good with swords? And also, guns also exist in the universe, which are more powerful and actually have range. Which, if one of the Marines had a gun, they could have easily taken down Nami and Zoro. But Luffy's immune to guns, which we do see from the start of the first episode when he raids that. When he doesn't really raid the pirate ship, but when he gets on that pirate ship, we see that Luffy's just immune to guns. But hey, that's only Luffy. Luffy's the only character that's immune to guns. There's still Nami and Zoro who get one-shot by guns because, you know, they're mortals. They have nothing that makes them immune to guns like Luffy. So if they wanted to kill a pirate, it would have just been the smart thing to do, is to let them use guns, because it's clear that swords, you need to have a full skill match in order to be the pirate, but with a gun, all you have to have is a good aim, and not get surprise attack out of nowhere in order to beat someone with a gun. Like, why are you giving your characters swords over guns? Like the series could have ended like episode 1 if, you know, the Marines had guns to kill Zoro or Nami. But it's just so stupid how, like, the Marines are giving their soldiers worse weapons when they're supposed to be, like, the strongest in the universe, in order to, are supposed to take down pirates. Like, Zoro also takes down pirates as well, and is also strong because of that. But still, they should still have a gun and a sword, because they have enough money to pay people bounties of 1 million, what was the currency called, like, berries? Then they should definitely have enough money to buy guns in order to strengthen their army so they can deal with more pirates and invaders that invade their base. But they just don't have guns. They aren't using proper weapons, which is just making them incredibly weak and utterly pathetic, and just lets like the entire Marine, like every Marine, just be soloable by Zoro, because he's like the most skilled character we've seen at the time, and he can just like solo like an entire Marine army there of like 10 soldiers. And if they had a gun, Zoro would have been dead because they could have easily shot him. But no, they all had swords for some reason.